There is a holy kind of stewardship that begins when a woman finally says to herself, I matter too. Hi, friend. Welcome to Amazing by Design. I'm Lucy Ann, and this is a space where we slow the pace, quiet the noise, and make room for us to encounter God right in the middle of our everyday life. So, wherever you are right now, maybe you're sitting with a cup of coffee or tea. Perhaps you're driving, maybe doing chores, taking a lunch break, maybe out for a walk. Wherever you might be, I want to invite you right now to take a deep breath to help your nervous system slow down so we can settle into this week's conversation. Today, the focus is on you. Did you know that the best investment that you can make is in yourself? It's true. If you're open to this investment opportunity that I'm going to talk about today, it has the power to change everything about how you show up in your life on a daily basis. Think about it. There's so much information out there about investing. It can actually become overwhelming. Investing in stocks, investing in property, investing in retirement plans, investing in your child's future education. Now, all of these things, they're important and they're worth paying attention to. But what if the most valuable investment you'll ever make isn't found in any of those things or anything external at all? What if it's found in you? And I say this because I've seen it play out in the lives of women over and over again. When a woman begins to invest in her own growth, her own healing, her own wholeness, everything in her life begins to shift. And it doesn't shift because she became selfish. It shifts because she becomes steady. This is what I have seen over and over again, and maybe you'll recognize it in yourself as well. So many women are incredible at caring for everyone else. They show up consistently. They serve. They give of their time and their resources, and they're extremely supportive. And then, if there's any time or any energy left over, then maybe, just maybe, they'll take a breath for themselves. But most of the time, if we're being honest, we don't do that. Or we don't do it consistently. We have a tendency as women to pour out until we're empty. And then we want to wonder why life feels so overwhelming, why we're tired all the time, and our peace feels so fragile. Now, I'm not talking about this today from theory. I'm talking about it because I've lived it. I used to live with the belief that putting myself last was noble. I believed that that's what God wanted and expected of me. And I held the thought that loving others meant that it was okay to neglect my own needs. But one day, God stopped me in my tracks, and He showed me something profound. He showed me that in all of my giving, all of my serving, all of my supporting, I wasn't becoming more loving. I was actually becoming depleted. And depletion never leads to freedom. Instead, it leads us straight to resentment, exhaustion, and burnout. And it was in those moments of discomfort that God began to gently teach me how to reframe my thinking. He taught me how to take care of myself. He taught me that taking care of myself wasn't taking anything away from anyone else. It was how I would be able to give the best of me to others. Let me share this analogy with you. And you've probably heard it before, but it's definitely worth repeating. In my training as a pilot, I was taught that in an emergency, tell everyone to put their own oxygen mask on first before helping anyone else. Now, why was this? Is it because you and I are more important than the person sitting next to us? No, it was because that you and I can't help anyone if we pass out. And if you have ever taken a plane ride, you would have heard those instructions as well. But we often don't make the correlation and or pay attention to how this relates to our everyday life. The same rule is applicable. If we don't take care of ourselves, we can't fully help anyone else. When you invest in your own growth, your healing, and your overall well-being, you don't become less available for others. You actually become more present for others. You show up more grounded, more loving, more whole, because you're giving freely, because your own needs are already met. I realize that this conversation may need us to pause for just a minute so we can reframe the lie that many of us have bought into, that taking care of ourselves is selfish. Some women hear this and they'll actually say to me, "Isn't that being selfish?" No. And here's why. Self-neglect is not humility, and self-care is not selfishness. I like to present it this way. There is a holy kind of stewardship that begins when a woman finally says to herself, "I matter too." And not in a prideful way, but just as a matter of fact. This is truth. Everyone matters, including ourselves. When I talk about making an investment in yourself, it doesn't always look glamorous, although it can, but sometimes it looks more like this. Saying no when you've always said yes. Choosing to rest instead of push yourself to exhaustion. Asking for help when you've always handled it all on your own. And being willing to face the patterns that you've avoided and intentionally making space for your own growth. It could also show up as something as simple as sitting with God quietly and admitting to Him, "I am ready to take responsibility for my own self-care." And this is where the real work begins. It's not in adjusting your schedule, but it's in your mindset. Because the way you treat yourself is shaped by the beliefs that you carry. And these beliefs, they get transferred into your habits. Then it's those habits that unconsciously direct your everyday life. That's why you find yourself repeating the same patterns over and over again, even though you wish you didn't. Your brain is operating on autopilot. Now that you have that perspective, I have a few questions for you. I want you to sit with these for a bit. They're designed to invite you into honest reflection. Ask yourself these questions. Why do I do all that I do? Is it out of love, or do I feel obligated? Am I making those choices from a place of freedom or guilt? And am I carrying responsibilities that don't actually belong to me? Am I afraid of letting someone else step up? Now, these questions, they aren't meant for you to self-judge. They're just an invitation to examine what's driving your habits. Here's the truth I've learned in my own walk, as well in walking alongside so many women over the years. When a woman begins to invest in her own self-growth, she doesn't pull away from life. She steps into it more fully. She becomes more present, more at peace with herself, more confident, and overall she shows up more grounded because she carries self-love and self-compassion. And this isn't a result of her fixing herself. Hear this. You are not broken. You were never broken. It isn't about that. It's because she finally allowed herself to be conformed to the amazing design that God has always had for her. Realize this. God is not asking you to run faster, to do more. He's inviting you to live deeper. He's not impressed by our exhaustion. He delights in our wholeness. You do not have to earn rest. You don't have to justify self-care. And you don't have to prove your worth. You already belong. You are already loved. And you are already worth investing in. So I want you to consider this invitation today. What would it look like to take your own growth seriously? Not someday, not when things settle down, and not when everybody else's needs are met, but now. What is one small step that you can take this week to invest in the woman God is shaping you to be? As you give that some thought, I want to leave you anchored in this truth. You are not behind. You are not selfish. And you are not asking for too much. You are in the process of becoming the amazing woman God created you to be. One step at a time, hand in hand with Him. And when you invest in your own growth and healing and wholeness, you're not stepping away from your calling. You're stepping deeper into it. Now, I know, as women, this concept of self-investment can feel extremely uncomfortable. But that's okay. Sit with that discomfort and ask God what He wants you to know about it. You may be surprised, as I was, what He'll reveal to you. And if at any time you want support helping you to step into the fullness of who God created you to be, I'm here for you. You'll find all the information to connect with me in the show notes. So wherever you are on your self-investment journey, remember this. You are chosen, you are loved, and you are amazing by design.